everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be bringing you the final flip through of my folio that I created using Ooh La La Vintage Treasures Biscotti Silk Cafe Kit along with Ooh La La Vintage Treasures Crystals and Pearls Kit Club Physical Kit. That's a mouthful. So Doreen at Ooh La La Vintage Treasures has two different design teams. One is for her digital kits, and we'll look at that here in a moment, and the other is for her physical kits, which she sends out periodically, and it's a beautiful curated box full of goodies that we can use, full of laces and papers and trims and just all kinds of fun things that we can use to create with. So the folio that I made is using a combination of both of those things. So we're using the Biscotti Silk Cafe Kit, and I printed out a few pages here just to refresh your memory. This is pieces of the paper pack kit, and there's so many lovely pages in this kit. I only printed a few just to show you. Isn't that lovely with the beautiful cafes and the coffee shops? So there's that one. Look at the luxurious velvet booths. I can imagine sitting in a Paris coffee shop, enjoying a lovely latte and beautiful pastries in that lovely setting. Isn't that gorgeous? And then beautiful background pages. And these kits with the pages are so beautiful, you almost don't need a lot of embellishments, which for those of us who like to play in the lace, it gives us a challenge as to how to embellish without overdoing and taking away from the lovely digitals. So you'll see this page in the folio here in just a moment, and then she's got some collage pages. Look at how lovely that is with the beautiful frames and the doors. I just love that. And here's one with the beautiful trims and the backgrounds and the crochet doilies and music pages. It's just all so lovely. And another collage page with the pretty pastries. I just love that one. And this one I think is my favorite page in the whole kit. I did print this on vellum and it came out absolutely stunning. And for some reason, I did not use this page in the folio, even though it's my favorite. So I have to figure out something special to do with this one. So those are the the paper pack, just part of them. There's more, but I didn't print them all out. And then on my desk, you'll see all kinds of ephemera that I haven't used in the folio. This was extra. She's got ephemera pages with postcards, with little bits and pieces to cut out and use. I love the writing, the script pages, just little sweet things you can use as little tuck spaces, little tiny envelopes, and those come in all sizes. Let's see, I've got some bigger ones over here that I haven't used yet. So there's some larger ones. There's this pretty one in the larger. And I coffee dyed those on the back, and my intent was to use them as flip outs, but I didn't have the room to use them in this folio, so I'll use them in another project. And then there's these envelopes in different sizes as well. Pretty little journaling cards. So all kinds of sweet little bits and pieces to play with. You'll see all of the little tiny pieces up here on my desk, little flowers and different goodies. So we'll look at a few of those as we're going through the folio, which I will show you right now. So here she is in all of her glory, the finished folio. I am so pleased with how she turned out. I started with having no grand plan whatsoever, and I ended up with this. So I'm trying to set a timer here. oops, on my watch so I don't go too long with this flip through. But here she is. I started out with no grand plan. I sat down with a few of the pieces in the physical kit, and this is how she turned out. So here she is. Here's the front, and I've just made a little cute skirt to go around her for a closure. I was trying to decide what kind of closure to put on it, and it's so chunky and flip-floppy that I decided she needed something secure. So I made this little ruffly skirt to put on her, and I just embellished it with some flowers here. I did layers of laces, which we'll look at here in a moment when I take this off. On the side, I just put some little goodies in a pretty little pin, and did a dangle to give it some visual interest on the edge here. And these can be taken off and used and taken apart, so the recipient can use those in future projects. And then, oops, I got a piece of ephemera stuck to it. And then the back I left relatively plain so you could see all the layers of the lace. And then on the side, I used a satin double-sided ribbon to close it, and I just embellished the little ends with some little rhinestone trim so they don't unravel. And then we'll give you a top view. From the top, you can see all the pretty laces. And there she is. So let's take this cover off, and we'll look at that a moment. During this process, my old sewing machine, I got some satin fabric jammed in where the presser foot is and goes down into the bobbin casing. And my machine was 40 years old. It was the one that my daddy got me for my college. When I graduated college, I was sewing a lot of clothes, so he bought that for me. So it broke my heart that it kind of got a problem, and there's nowhere close to service them out here in the country where we live. So my husband said, just get a new updated one. So I was so excited. I got a new computerized machine with all of the lovely stitches, the pretty decorative stitches. So this is my first project that I used the new machine on, and it's this beautiful little ruffle skirt. So I just layered layers and layers of trim, and I used an eyelet base, and I made a double layer of the eyelet so it was sturdy, and then I just stitched the little ties into the side here, and then just layered these beautiful laces. And the laces that you'll see in this project, I've used a combination of a bunch of different places. For instance, this is a Crafty Me. This one and this one, I believe, are Lavish Laces. This was a piece out of my stash. So I'll try to point out what was actually from the Kit Club kit as we go through. So there is the little cover. I think that turned out so pretty. And here is the folio. Look at that. She just turned out so chunky and full of goodness. I decided that it did need a little wrap to keep it closed because it was flip-floppy, which you'll see. So there again is the top. You'll see little bits and pieces poking out. Here's the side. I've got some little ties in here for different purposes we'll go through, but you can see all of those on the side as well. And I just think she turned out so pretty. I did add this little snippet on the front, and this included some of the pieces from the Crystals and Pearls Kit Club snippets, and this little pearl dangle was from that Kit Club as well. And then I used, well, let's see, let's unwrap her, and we'll start going through everything. So on the front, I collaged, I just wrapped it in a piece of sari. So that can be changed. This little slide can be taken off and used for something different if the recipient wants to do something different. I just used a lot of the pieces from the Crystals and Pearls appliques that were included in the kit club. And this is a little doily that was coffee dyed, a little doily flower coffee dyed. And then underneath here is a little snippet. And Marie made, Marie on the design team, Cupcakes, Pearls, and Lace is her channel. She made a beautiful snippet with parchment, and it was a long snippet roll. And I just cut a piece of that off and used it as a backing there, as well as some of this beautiful gold flocked netted, it's kind of a netted tulle kind of a fabric. And I put some of that behind here as well to give it some dimension. You'll kind of see it. I ruffleized it. You'll see that on the top. And then the applique here is from the Crystals and Pearls Kit Club. And this beautiful applique here is also from the Kit Club. It was longer. It was like a piece of a collar, but I snipped it off and just used the dangle part. I thought that was so pretty. And then some of these appliques came from my stash from an estate sale that I went to a while back. And then this also was from the Kit Club. And then I've layered over it, but underneath here was pieces from the Kit Club as well. So let's open her up. She's a flip-floppy kind of a situation here. So first of all, we'll go this way. And I'll open her all up so you can see the full view. Look at how big. I don't know, is she all in the, let me see if she's in frame. So there she is in all of her glory, the whole view. So let's start with a piece at a time here. Let's start with the cover. And I have taken one of the pages from the paper pack and I did some stickling. And I put this inside a window envelope. And let's see, I should tell you how this was constructed again. So this is a big manila envelope that was coffee dyed, and it has the opening there. And then these two pieces were, this was a window envelope, like a 6x9, and this was a solid envelope, 6x9. And I attached those to this piece and made it accordion-like. So that's the cover. Then we go to this inside part, which is the center. And we've got some little ephemera pieces that I made using some of the ephemera out of the kit. I made some little tags, little tiny tags, and tucked them in there. Cute for journaling spots. All of these backings have been coffee dyed. Since it's a coffee themed kit, I decided to coffee dye everything. This is some like rag paper that's so beautiful. And throughout, I've tucked in little pieces of vintage ephemera for the recipient. This is a letter from 1943, handwritten. It's from Bowman Field in Louisville, Kentucky. It was from a military person to his sweetheart, I suppose. So I thought those would be fun little goodies to play with and just tuck in there. This is a piece of a vintage ledger that I collaged with little pieces of the ephemera. So there is that. Oh, and oops, I lost a piece. This is a tiny little tag that I made out of the ephemera, and that was to tuck in here. So cute little spots, even tiny little spots all throughout. I just love it. And then on this side, I collaged another journaling card using the Kit Club pieces, or I'm sorry, the Kit Club pieces. Well, this was a Kit Club piece, yes. Using the ephemera pieces here and here, and I did a little stickling on there, and then on the back, just left it playing with a little snippet down here. And then here is a vintage oh, I was about to say recipe, prescription card from 1967. So there is that. And then let's go over to this side here. And this is the back of the folio. So I wanted to leave it to where there wasn't a lot of bits and pieces to fall out. So I just tucked in a sweet little vintage picture. It looks like two little friends or sisters. And I just thought that was so sweet. And it just reminded me of having coffee with a friend or a loved one. Some quiet time with somebody special. So I tucked that in there. And then I used some of the pages from the Kit Club kit and just made a little snippet book, a little folded book. I used some coffee dyed paper from my stash, some tracing paper that's got that good crinkle sound to it, and I just kind of rolled up the edges. And those are good for when you collage and you want to do like a little frame. You can just fold those down and do like that on your collage. I think that's so sweet. Then an embossed piece and some more of that beautiful rag paper that came out of the kit here, and a little coffee dyed doily that came from the physical kit. And then here's pages from the paper pack that I coffee dyed, and I just bound it together with the sari ribbon, or I'm sorry, a chiffon ribbon. I'm getting my words all mixed up today. And just made a little booklet. Look at that. I put a piece of lace over the paper when I coffee dyed it, and it made like little floral patterns. I think that's so cute. And then here I put a old placemat on there, and you can faintly see the design on there, and then I just stitched around that. And then the beautiful picture on the back, and just trimmed it in a little ribbon or lace so you can have some pretty trim on there. And then a little snippet of one of the appliques up here. And then I just tied it again with the organza. And then I made little snippet out of some of the pieces of the lace that was in the Kit Club kit. And added a little dangle here, a little charm. And this I absolutely love. I have to show you this. These are these flowers that came from the Kit Club kit, or I am messing up my words, from the ephemera pack. And I took resin, UV resin, and I coated them with the resin, and I've got a couple pieces down here too I will show you. And they turned out so stinking cute. I absolutely love them. Where's my other piece? Here she is. So here's this little paper piece, and I took a larger one of those, and I did it with the resin, and I poked my pokey tool in there to make a little hole so you can use them as little charm dangles. And they're very sturdy. You can kind of hear them click. I coated them front and back, and they make the sweetest little dangles. And then I did have to take my pokey tool and poke it back through because the resin kind of closes up when you put it in the light. But I think that's so fun. That's going to be an idea that I'll be using more often, I think. So that is that. That is the back, and let me get that tucked in there again. Let's see, I think I did it this way. And then I poked the sari, or me and my words today, what is the deal? The chiffon, and I just poked that back through so it wasn't flopping around. There we go. We're just going to tuck that back in there and even that out a little bit so it looks pretty. And then we'll tuck our little photo back in there. And then that makes the back of the folio. So then we'll turn her around this way, and we'll look at the other side. So this side, is going to look like this. And I made this little folio to hold ephemera, and it was to tuck inside one of these pockets, but it was too full. When I tucked everything in there, I couldn't get it closed, and it was stressing out the seam here. So I decided to add this as just an extra piece, and I just tucked it in the back here, and we'll look at that in a moment. So here's this side and all of the whole spread, and we'll start over here. Let's see, gotta get her folded correctly. So this side, we have a piece of the beautiful page here, and I took one of the little ephemera pieces and I stickled it, and then I embellished a little glassine bag, coffee dyed glassine bag, and just did little snippets here and there. This came out of the Kit Club physical kit. A little snippet of lace, and then inside we have another little journaling card, and just put some little embellishments on that, little coffee dyed lace snippets from the kit, and back here just some little collaging. So this little bag could be used to hold little bits and bitty bits and pieces, and like the little tiny pieces up here, you could print those out and put those in. So we will just put that, and then I just used a little piece of netting, tulle netting up there, and tied it onto a tiny little paper clip for a closure for that. And we just tuck that back in there. And then we will open her this way. And here, because this was flapping open, and you'll see in a moment what I mean, I put some little eyelets on either side and tied it closed with some crinkled seam binding. And I just put it on either side, looped it through so it's easy to get open and closed. So on this side, this is the beautiful little shaker card that you saw in a previous video, and it's got the crinkly coffee dyed parchment on there and some little snippets. This came out of the Kit Club piece, and this back here did. And then on the back, I just covered the closure of the envelope with some coffee dyed lace and ribbon, lace and trim. And then I secured it with a rusty paper clip with a piece of sari. And then this flap here has a little dangle, little flower dangle. And then I collaged this piece of a folder. This was an embossed folder that was in the physical kit, and I used that to make the flaps. And then a paper bag, a little paper bag that was in the Kit Club as well. And I put that as a little pocket here. And this was a coffee dyed doily from the physical kit, as well as music paper. And then another little piece of that snippet of the tulle, the flocked tulle. So here I took one of the journaling cards and did some embellishing on the front, and on the back, again, some lace dyed coffee on the paper, little snippets of lace and some stitching, and this little topper pulls out to be a little journaling spot. I thought that was so sweet. So then that tucks in here. And then we will flip her open. And inside here, I've attached a little scrappy pad. And I've got a little paper clip with some foofy little pieces of netting that has some rhinestone embellishment on it. That was a piece of wedding fabric. And then here is a little scrappy booklet. I just embellished the front. Used one of the journaling cards, and I just have little pieces of paper in there. left it plain on the back for journaling. And then for this pocket in the flip out, I made using an embossed envelope that was in the Kit Club, and I thought it was so beautiful with the embossing. I didn't want to totally cover it up, so that's why I just added this with the little clip, which we'll put back on here in just a moment. So it folds out, and here we have a little journaling card. Oops. And I did a little stickling on that. On the back, also some stitching here. We've got some little bits and pieces tucked into a little tiny pocket that can be used for little journaling spots. And here, I kind of just, because it was coming apart, I just folded it down and inked it and kind of gave it a little folded, ruffly kind of a tuck. And I thought that was so pretty, and that way it kind of signifies that this is a pocket, that there's something in. So we'll put that back in there, and I love the way you can see some of the stickling out of there and give it a little sparkle. So on this side, I didn't want to embellish too much because I just loved all the embossing. So I took one of the ephemera pieces here, and this is a piece of trim from the Kit Club kit that I used to kind of embellish that. And then I made a little tag, simple little tag to tuck in there. And then inside, I made this a double pocket. So I only glued around the 3 sides. So you've got the envelope here. I slit just on one side so it would make a little pocket, and I put this little tag in there, tall tag, and did some embellishing on that one. And then behind it in the back pocket is another tall tag, and this came in the Kit Club. It's a beautiful wedding applique. And then just left this pretty blank. I did some stitching around here, piece of coffee dyed. This was actually a piece of trim. I have it up here on my inspiration board. It was a piece of trim that I got in an estate sale that I coffee dyed, and it works wonderfully for cutting little snippets and doing little embellishments. So that one tucks back in there. And that one tucks back in there. And I love how you can kind of see everything from the top when you have it all closed up. So we'll put this back here. I love the little foofy, kind of a no rhyme or reason. It just looks cute and dangly. So then we'll fold this one and then we'll put this one back. Let's see, where did I put the, here it is, piece of sari. This is very interactive and has lots of layers. So there's that side. We'll close that up for a moment, and then we'll look at this side. Actually, maybe we'll leave it open so you can kind of see the whole thing. It's hard to get it all in the camera here. So here's this side. Again, piece of the folder that was embossed that I made the flip with. And on this one, if you'll remember, in a previous video, we took one of the coffee dyed glassine bags that was in the Kit Club, the music paper. This was a little corner that was in the Kit Club, a little applique. And I took some of the tissue paper that Doreen had lined the Kit Club box in, and I kind of just used that for some collaging. And then it included in this bag was a plain tag, this plain tag. And I just did some collaging and embellishing with pieces from the paper pack. And some book page, little embossed paper that I had done. Added a cute little dangle, and I just used some tulle from a wedding dress to make a soft topper. And that sticks out in the front, or the top, I mean. And then we'll flip this this one open, and then on this side you will see this flip. Let me move her over. And for this flip out, I used one of the little file folders. I made a little journaling card with, attached it with this little paper clip, did some embellishing. This was a piece of one of the paper pack pages and some of the ephemera pieces. And then I just put this beautiful piece of the paper pack piece on the back to journal on. This is some vintage ledger from my stash and some embossed paper from my stash. And then I made a little belly band here with one of the ephemera pieces and used one of the tall tags and made a little journaling tag there. And this flip out here is embossed coffee dyed envelope that was in the Kit Club kit, and I used that to make the flip out. So we'll put that back there. I just love all of the layering, all of the ephemera that you can pack into one little situation. Well, actually, she's not so little. She ended up being big, but one folio. So then you flip it over, and I just did some collaging here with pieces of the ephemera, pieces of the Kit Club kit here, and coffee dyed paper was from the Kit Club, and the coffee dyed doily was from the Kit Club. And I just tucked that inside the envelope because I didn't want to see all the security marks on there. So I just tucked that in. And then on the flap here, we have just a little booklet from one of the ephemera pieces. I stitched around, added a piece of the applique, did some gold leaf edging on. And in the middle, we've got, when you open it, it's got some of the lace dyed coffee paper that I've done. And then as well as another little scrappy book. Used one of the ephemera pieces, and then I just added some pretty pages. Some of these were from the Kit Club kit. This one, for instance, this is a piece of wallpaper, and you flip it over and you can journal on the back of that as well. So I just tucked that in there. And I left some of these pieces rather unembellished, rather plain, so the recipient can do what they wish with it. I also left some of the tags, or some of the strings from the threading, from the stitching on there. So if they wanted to, they could bead that. So there is that one. That tucks in that way. Just like that. And then we're going to move it back to the center. And we're going to flip this open. And then this is the centerpiece. And I used one of the pages from the paper pack, this beautiful layered frame page, to be the background. And I just did a simple little lace belly band here and tucked ephemera pieces in. And these are some that I didn't embellish very much, so they can be used however the recipient would like. Just a little flip open one. Here's a sweet little coffee cup. I love that. And again, all coffee dyed on the back. And then this one, and these three I just did the gold leaf edging on. And look at how pretty that looks. I just absolutely love that. So we'll just tuck all of those back in there. It's just so fun to layer and collage and see all the little bits and pieces. And then on this side, we have a tall tag that I just did a little lace topper on. Used a little snippet of the lace and put some little dangles on there. And then on the back, just the simple stitching. And then this was one of the ephemera pieces I folded in half, kind of off center, so it gave it a little different look. Put a little coffee dyed ruffle there, little bling trim. And then some of the ephemera pieces inside, and again the lace dyed coffee paper and stitching. So see how pretty Doreen's digitals are? Sometimes you just don't need much, just a little touch here and there, little ruffly piece there, and that's why I've left some of them relatively plain, because they are just so beautiful. And as is this beautiful spread here. I didn't want to lace it up too much, and for one, I couldn't get too much bulkier than we already are because we're pretty bulky. But I also didn't want to take away from this beautiful digital. It's just lovely as it is. So then we'll close this and we'll look at the inside of the front. And this was the window envelope here. And here again, I was just saying I didn't want to over embellish, because look at that gorgeous print. I just did a little lace here so you can still see the print. I used one of the sweet little envelopes for a tuck spot and put some little tulle, ruffleized tulle down here. Did a little snippet. This was a little applique from the Kit Club kit, and I put a little piece of ribbon flower on there and just made a little simple tuck spot. That was one of the journaling cards that I stickled, and just put that in there. And then one of the pretty little flowers that was stickled. And those make a sweet little journaling spot, just a sweet little phrase that means something to you, or a little sentiment, or a thought that you had during the day. I just think they're so fun. And then on the inside of this will be your front page that you saw through the cover. And I just tied this little thing together with some vintage lace out of my stash. And I stickled just a little bit so you can see that through the envelope in the front. And I edged it in gold on both the front and the back. The back I left plain. I thought that was just such a beautiful print. You don't need to do much to that. And then I just inserted pages from the paper pack and the Kit Club in here, and then some from my stash, and made just a little booklet. This is some vintage ledger paper from my stash that was not written on. It's got some little aging in the color. This is paper pack pages here. And again, all of these have been coffee dyed on the back. And then one of the beautiful Kit Club pages there. This is a vintage ledger, and that is from 1863. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at the writing on that. That was out of my stash, and I just think that is so, so beautiful. So there is that, another Kit Club or paper pack page from the digital kit. Some more of the beautiful coffee shop pages. This is a vintage music sheet from my stash. More paper pack pages. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see, but since this was coffee dyed, on here, on the front, you'll see of the little bit of the coffee dye bleeding through, and I think that looks so vintage and beautiful. I just love that look. It doesn't cover up the beautiful digital image. It just gives you that little vintagey, worn look, and I just love that. And then here is a beautiful, I believe this is French book page. And I was able to pull out the whole page without it tearing. So I included the double page spread in there and then just tied it with the lace. So this can be used as a little booklet for journaling. It can be taken apart and used however the recipient wishes. There's the back of that beautiful vintage ledger page. Beautiful digital pages from the kit. Little ledger sheet again. Beautiful coffee shop page, little cafe. I just think it's stunning. And then the back of the booklet. So we'll just tuck that back in. And then, y'all, you have to see this. So let's take a little quick overview. I won't, let's see, goes that way. I won't, oops, this way. Okay. Oh goodness, trying to get her back together. I'll give you another quick view of the top before we pull these out. But inside, and then there's that beautiful page through the window. So in this center spread here, I mentioned we have a tuck in this beautiful coffee dyed folder, coffee dyed envelope. It's one of the, what are they, 11 by 13 or whatever that dimension is. I tucked a little tall tag in there. And again, it has a little snippet cluster here and one of the little ephemera pieces that I did with the UV resin to make a little charm. And then this was from the Kit Club kit, a beautiful applique. And I believe this was from the Kit Club kit as well. I collaged one of the paper pack pages with some different things, some wallpaper and some pretty ruffly paper here, crinkly paper, and then just did a little sari trim down the side. And then on the back, we have some little pieces. I used some of the ephemera pieces down here to make a tuck. We have a vintage pharmacy, French pharmacy card. That was out of my ephemera stash. We've got a little journaling card that I stitched double on the bottom there in coffee dyed. And then one of the beautiful flowers. And then that just tucks right in here. If you can see. Let's see, well, we'll pull the other piece out and then we'll look at it again. So that goes in that side. And then in this side, I made a beautiful embellished scrappy book. And this one is big. I love this, how it turned out. And we've got a beautiful little crown dangle there with some little snippet pieces. Beautiful lace topper. Underneath the lace, you can kind of see I've done some stitching there to hold it all together. Did some collaging. This is one of the pieces of the paper pack, a piece of that. And then just did the collaging around there. This base piece is one of the beautiful pieces in the paper pack. I just love that. Did some little trimming here. And then inside, as we flip it up, you'll see some more of that coffee dyed paper that I did with the lace. And just added a little lace embellishment on the bottom. This is a piece of the book page from the Crystals and Pearls Kit Club. Music page, I'm sorry. And through the side here, I just wove some satin ribbon and put a little heart dangle down there. Trimmed it in some of the lace that was in the Kit Club. And then here is one of the paper pack pieces. Did a little collaging down here with one of the ephemera pieces and some tulle and some lace. And then this is from my stash. It's a coffee dyed lined paper. And I used some tulle and some wedding applique down there. And then another one of the Kit Club pages, which I didn't, or the paper pack pages, which I didn't want to over embellish, so just a little snippet of lace at the bottom there. And then on the back, I wrapped a piece of lace around the front and back, and I left the tulle edging on it to make a little pocket. And inside, I just tucked some little pieces. We've got another one of the pretty little flowers. We've got another one of the journaling cards, coffee dyed and stitched. And then this was a piece in the Kit Club kit, and it's a pretty little notepad that says espresso yourself, and it's got all the coffees on there. And I thought that was just super sweet for the coffee theme. So that's going in there. And then on the back, I just left this kind of rough and rustic. The base of this little flip book was made from a piece of a coffee dyed folder that I did. I put lace over the folder and did coffee dyeing on it. And then on the back here we have some S&A green stamps, some little gift stamps, vintage. So we tuck those in here. And then we have a beautiful journaling card there that was stitched and coffee dyed. And then we have one of the little round coffee ephemeras that has been coffee dyed. And then that just tucks right in here. And then look at how pretty that looks from the top. You can see just poking out of there all of that lace. I just absolutely love it. So let's tie these back up. You just bring those to a close, and I give this a loose tie so when you fold it all up it's not stressing it too much, but it will keep it from flip-flapping all over the place when you're trying to actually use the folio. I can't believe how many tucks and flips and spots I got in here, all of the ephemera that fit in here. I just think it's so, so fun, very interactive and very fun. So you've got that little bow there, you've got the little sari bow down here, so it makes just like a beautiful little cluster in the center. And then we'll fold this all back up. And we'll set her to the side right here a moment. Oh, I've got to get that piece of lace trim. That was the tie for that. Let me pull that out of there. I tucked that in the back when I tucked it in because I didn't want the lace trim to show through the front. So I got that back in there incorrectly. So there she is. So there is the front again. So then we'll look at the little extra piece that I could not get in the in the center here, and it is a little ephemera folio, and I just think that turned out so sweet as well. And this is made, the base is the other half of the coffee dyed file folder from the flip book over here. So I couldn't just leave it at that. I had to make a pretty little pen to go with it for all of the journaling you're going to do and all of the ephemera pieces that you're going to write on. I made this beautiful little rhinestone dangle pen and included it with this folio. So here on the front we've got little toppers with some lace here. We've got one of the ephemera pieces from the ephemera kit, and it's one of the corner tucks. This had a lot of corner tuck pieces in it, which I absolutely love. And then I just did some collaging here with some lace and one of the ephemera pieces. And then I tucked in, because you'll be writing notes, I tucked in this carboned little note. It's a vintage piece out of my stash. And that'll be fun for journaling. You can take it apart and have several pages. And then here's some of the cards, and I believe everything, all of the ephemera in here, I've just stitched and stickled. I didn't embellish much of it because I wanted the recipient to be able to use it as they wish in their projects. So there's another beautiful piece. I love that cameo. And then the double stitching around there. And then a little stickling on that card and a little bit of stitching down there. And then we'll flip it to the back, and look at how sweet that is. I used several of these little envelopes and I stickled and stacked them. So in the bottom here we have a couple ephemera pieces. This one was stickled and gold edged. And then this one I did a little lace coffee dyeing. So we'll leave these out a minute so you can see the whole stack of envelopes here and how it looked. And their journaling card with the stitching, and then just a little round journaling card that I left relatively plain and did the gold edging on that. And then this tiny little pocket on top has a tiny little piece to write on that's gold edged. So look at how pretty that looks with the stacked folders there, the stacked envelopes. Then I just took some of the ephemera pieces and did some collaging, some little appliques out of my stash and some lace out of my stash, and did not over embellish because I wanted you to see some of the coffee dyed file folder through there as well. So we'll put those back. I just loved how I thought this was going to look out of the top of, let's see, who did I have where? Out of the top of the folder over here, the folio, but it was just too bulky. It just was not working. So let's put that one in there, and then we'll tuck these ones back in here. And I don't know if I had those in the same places, but that's okay. They all work. So there's that. And then I just fasten this closed with a little sweet little paper clip with some little fabric, toolish fabric on there I tied a little bow with, and then it opens it up. And for the tab on the file folder, I put little ruffles on both of the tabs for the top. And on this one, I put a little angel wing pin that can be taken off and used in a future project. So then you open it up and you've got double spots here and here. So we'll look at this one. Again, the top of the file folder was done with some lace and a little bit of bling. Here I just tucked in, clipped in actually, with this paper clip, some more little journaling cards. I just did some little stickling on. And here is a little pocket I made from a piece of the book page from the Kit Club. And I just made a little pocket out of that. Tucked in some little cards here. And on this side, some little stickled and gold edged cards that have been coffee dyed on the back. And then on the top, we've got a couple little cards that have been edged in gold as well from the ephemera pack. So you've got tucks and flips and flaps and things all over the place. I think it's so fun. I cannot believe how this turned out. I sat here and looked at this last night for a final flip through before I did the flip through video, and I thought, boy, I started this with absolutely no clue with what I was doing in 3 envelopes, and look what it turned out to be. I sit there and I watch all of your talented and wonderfully creative videos, and I think, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. And I study them and I watch them and I try to duplicate things. And this project, I thought, no, I'm just going to sit down and I'm just going to figure it out on my own. And this is how it all turned out. So I had so much fun with it. I cannot tell you, between the beautiful digitals, the lovely pieces from the physical kit, and just sitting down and playing with it all. I mean, how could you not have fun with all of these beautiful pieces to play with? So here I did a little belly band, and I stickled a piece of the end there, and I tucked in some of the journaling cards, just have been coffee dyed. Look at the yummy pastries on that. And here I I tucked in a vintage check. This check is from 1886. And I thought that was fun. It looks like it's coffee dyed, but it's just very vintage. It's got the stamp, how the bank stamped it to let you know that it was used. And then up here, we have the little up tuck that I had these little pieces in. Another journaling card that I just stitched on the bottom and did the lace dyeing coffee on the back. And then this little sweet cup, and I just put little stickles in the middle there to give it a little bit of bling, and then edge that in gold. So let's see, let's tuck this back in here. So we've got the vintage check. Actually, I think I'll do it that way so it's not too stressed when you pull it out. And then this one, and then this one. And then we'll do these in the little up tuck. One here, and one there. And I left that relatively unembellished, except for the little toppers, so you can see the beautiful coffee dyeing on the inside of the folder. So there is that. We closed it with this little clip there with the little foofy ruffle there. We put the, let's see, how did I do that? We put this there, like that. And then we tucked our, oops, I'm caught on the ephemera. Then we tucked our pretty little pen in there. And I love the mixture of the creams and the ivories and the whites all together, all the neutrals with the gold, the silver and the gold touches together. I just think it looks so pretty. You can mix and match. So often we think we have to stick to one color scheme, but I just think it's beautiful the way it is. So there, because I couldn't get it in the center, I just tucked that in the back here. So that just laid in the back, and I did it this way so you could see the dangly pen from the outside. So we're going to fold it this way, and this way, and this way. Again, there she is, all folded up, all tucked in. There's the top. We will put the wrap back on. And this one has been spoken for. It was spoken for early on in this journey. And I have to tell you, I was so honored yet nervous about completing this because I knew who the recipient was going to be. And she is a designer on the team, on Doreen's team, but also a designer that I have followed and admired for quite some time, and her work is outstanding. And I will let you know that it is Marie with Cupcakes, Pearls, and Lace who spoke early on for this folio. And that's why I did not want to finish it on the video, because I wanted her to be surprised. So I am filming this, but I am not posting it until she receives it and has a chance to look at it. So by the time you're seeing this video, she will have received the folio and had a chance to go through it all on her own. So there again, there's the top with all the foofy little pieces, all of the snippets, the dangles, the pretty little pen, all of the little crinkled seam binding, more dangles, more charms, the beautiful back here, the little chiffon ruffles or chiffon ties, and the sari silk, little dangles, the little UV resin charms. I just think it's so sweet. So we will put her back in her little wrap. And after this video, she's going to be packed up and put in the mail. So Marie, I hope you loved this as much as I enjoyed making it for you. It truly, truly was an honor. And when I say an honor, I really mean it. When you create things, you do it out of your heart. You do it out of love for your craft. And I don't know about anyone else, but I never expect anyone to truly like what I do enough to want it for their own because they're doing similar things. You know, all of you talented crafters out there, and some of you have purchased my creations, and I cannot tell you how honored I am and truly, truly touched that you would want a piece of my heart and my art. So Marie, she's on her way. I hope you love her. I enjoyed doing this so much. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this inspires you in some way to just sit down with your goodies and play. Don't have a grand plan. Just let the creativity flow and see what happens. You never know. You might just end up with something gorgeous. Thank you all for watching. Bye, y'all.